Living alone after 60 can feel like peace. It's quite earned after a lifetime of hard work. But have you ever sat in that quiet and felt a flicker of something else? A feeling, just for a moment, that this peace might be more fragile than it seems? For many men, that feeling is a quiet warning. Because hidden inside that peace are dangers that few ever see, until it is far too late. The silence that seems so comforting can mask the risk of an unnoticed fall, an illness that strikes in the night, or the deeper, unspoken fear of being forgotten when you need someone most. And here is the hard truth no one talks about. For men in our later years, the greatest threats often don't come from the outside world. They come from within the very walls of our own homes. As a doctor who has had the privilege of sitting with hundreds of men through their golden years, I have seen firsthand how that treasured freedom can slowly, silently, turn into fragility. These are not just passing worries. This is reality. I'm not talking about theories from a book. I'm talking about real life. I think of men like Mr. Johnson, a proud, independent man who found himself helpless on his own bathroom floor for nearly an entire day. His story is a powerful, painful reminder of why we are here today. In this video, we are going to walk through the 9 hidden dangers of living alone after 60. But I am not here to scare you. I am here to arm you. For each danger, I will share the simple, practical, and often free steps you can take to protect yourself, starting right now. And please, make sure you stay with me until the very end. Because danger number 9 is the one that surprises even the strongest of men, and the information I will share in that final section, it could genuinely save your life. Before we dive into danger number 1, I want to connect with you. What has been your biggest challenge living alone? Please, take a moment and share it in the comments below. I read every single response, because your words can help another man realize he isn't fighting this battle by himself. Okay, let's begin. Alright, let's begin with danger number 1. Danger number 1. The illness no one notices. It often starts with something small. A cough that lingers a little too long. A moment of dizziness when you stand up. A stumble in the night that you brush off as nothing. When you live with others, someone might say, "Are you feeling okay?" Or, "Maybe you should get that checked out." But when you are alone, who will see it? This is one of the greatest and most silent dangers of solitude after 60. What many people don't realize is that after 60, our bodies respond differently. The signals can be more subtle, yet the consequences are far more severe. A simple bruise that you might have ignored at 40 could signify a broken hip at 70. A mild chest pain, easily dismissed as indigestion, could be the very first warning sign of a heart attack. And with something like a stroke, where every single minute matters, symptoms that a spouse or child might catch in an instant can go unnoticed for hours, even a full day, when you are alone. I want to tell you about a patient of mine, a good man named Mr. Johnson. At 70 years old, he was fiercely proud of his independence. One rainy evening, he was in the bathroom when his foot slipped, and he fell hard against the cold tiles. The pain was sharp, but the fear was sharper. He couldn't get up. His phone, which he'd left on the nightstand, was a room away, an impossible distance. The hours dragged on in complete silence. By the time a concerned neighbor finally knocked on his door the next morning, Mr. Johnson was weak and severely dehydrated. What could have been a simple injury turned into a long, painful recovery in the hospital. His story is a stark reminder of how quickly a situation can escalate. But your story does not have to be his. The solution is not to live in fear, but to plan for these unseen moments. Modern devices can be silent guardians. Medical alert bracelets, wearable fall detectors, or even a smartwatch can track your heartbeat and send out a warning. But the most powerful tool is often the simplest. Make it a habit to keep your phone within arm's reach at all times. And even more powerful than that is the human connection. A simple daily check-in call. A short conversation each morning or evening with a family member or a trusted friend. It may feel small, but that 5-minute call ensures that someone knows you are safe. Living alone should not mean being invisible. If you already have a daily check-in system in place, please comment the word SAFE below. Let's encourage each other to build these simple, life-saving habits. Danger number 2. Silence that turns into isolation. Silence can be a wonderful thing. It can give you space to breathe, to think, to pray without interruption. But too much silence, stretched out over weeks, and then months, it begins to eat away at the spirit. What first feels like peace can slowly curdle into a heavy, suffocating loneliness that steals your strength. This is a deep, psychological truth about being human. We are not built to live completely cut off from others. No matter how strong or independent we believe we are, prolonged isolation is a poison. Study after study has shown that it raises the risk of depression, weakens our motivation to care for ourselves, and can even shorten our life expectancy. The heart, just like the body, needs connection to thrive. Consider the story of Mr. Miller, a 72-year-old widower. When his wife passed, he initially enjoyed his newfound independence. His mornings were filled with a newspaper and a cup of coffee. His afternoons were for gardening. His evenings were for quiet television. The solitude felt refreshing, even comforting. But as time wore on, the phone stopped ringing as often. Friends, busy with their own families and health, stopped visiting. The silence in his home grew thicker, heavier, each passing day. After 2 years, when he came to see me, Mr. Miller admitted he no longer had the energy to even step outside. The hobbies that once brought him joy felt meaningless. His entire world had shrunk until it was no bigger than the four walls around him. He was trapped in a cycle he didn't know how to break. But the good news is that the connection does not have to be complicated. The solution is to start small. It can be a short phone call to someone each evening, a weekly visit to a church service, a synagogue, or a community center, joining a local group for veterans, a book club, or even volunteering for a cause you care about. Even small, brief conversations with the cashier at the grocery store can keep the shadows of deep loneliness at bay. If you have ever felt the weight of silence pressing down too hard, please type the word alone in the comments below. You will quickly see how many others in our community know this feeling, too. And together, we can remind one another that silence does not have to mean isolation. Danger number 3. The home that becomes a hazard. The place you trust the most, the walls you have lived within for years, maybe even decades, can quietly become one of the most dangerous places you can be after 60. Your home feels safe. It feels familiar. But for older men living alone, it is often where hidden risks are waiting in plain sight. Think about it. That staircase you've climbed 1,000 times, now without a sturdy railing on both sides. The loose rug in the hallway can catch a toe. The bathroom floor that grows slick with steam after a shower. These are things we stop noticing until something happens. Add to that the stove left burning, or a dimly lit room where one misstep in the wrong direction can lead to a devastating fall. The statistics are sobering. The CDC confirms that household accidents, particularly falls, remain one of the leading causes of injury and death for older adults. A fall in the bathroom can break a hip, leading to months in a hospital bed and a permanent loss of mobility. A small kitchen fire can become deadly in just minutes, especially when no one else is there to sound the alarm. I remember Mr. Brown, a 74-year-old who loved to cook his own meals. It was his point of pride. One evening, he placed a pot on the stove to simmer, but a phone call from his daughter distracted him. He got lost in the conversation. The kitchen quickly, silently, filled with smoke. Thankfully, a neighbor smelled the burning and rushed over before a fire could truly spread. Mr. Brown was lucky. Many others are not. The solution here is not fear, it is preparation. It's about taking an honest look at your home with fresh eyes. Install sturdy grab bars in the shower and near the toilet. They are not a sign of weakness. They are a sign of intelligence. Place non-slip mats on all bathroom floors. Improve the lighting in your hallways and stairwells, perhaps with simple motion sensor nightlights. And please, install smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, and test them regularly. Even small adjustments, like taping down the edges of a rug that curls up, can make your home infinitely safer. Your independence is precious, but it must be protected. Take a look around your living room right now. What's one small thing you could fix this week to make it safer? Share your idea in the comments. You might give someone else a life-saving thought. Danger number 4. Financial blind spots. Having freedom with your money in your later years can feel empowering. You decide when to spend, what to save, and how to enjoy the fruits of a lifetime of hard work. But living alone after 60 can turn that very same freedom into a trap, especially when there is no one nearby to act as a second set of eyes, to warn you about suspicious calls, tricky emails, or impulsive choices. Scammers know this well. They are predators, and they specifically target older adults who live alone, using fear and urgency as their primary weapons. They create a crisis that needs an immediate solution. Take the case of Mr. Wilson, a 68-year-old retiree I know. One afternoon, he received a phone call from a man claiming to be from his bank's fraud department. The caller spoke with authority, using a few bits of personal information that sounded convincing. He created a panic, saying Mr. Wilson's account was compromised. Within minutes, they persuaded him to verify his account details to secure it. By the time Mr. Wilson felt that uneasy feeling in his gut and hung up, thousands of dollars were gone, stolen by a voice he would never hear again. Beyond scams, simple isolation can lead to financial blind spots. Without a trusted partner or advisor to double-check, it becomes easier to miss a payment, overlook suspicious charges on a credit card, or make a risky investment. The solution is not to give up control, but to build a shield of protection. Share your financial plans with a trusted family member, a close friend, or a professional advisor. Not to give them control, but to have someone you can call and say, "Does this sound right to you?" Use automatic bill payments for your utilities and account alerts that can notify you of large withdrawals. And above all, treat any unexpected call, email, or visitor demanding money with extreme caution. Legitimate institutions will never pressure you to act immediately. If you have ever faced a suspicious phone call or email, please type the number 4 in the comments. Your story may be the warning that protects another man from falling into the same trap. Danger number 5. Small habits, big consequences. When no one is watching, the little things can begin to slide. A skipped meal here. An extra glass of whiskey there. Another day spent sitting in the chair instead of taking a short walk. None of these seems like a big deal on its own. But when you live alone, there's no gentle voice to remind you, "Did you eat today?" Or, "Let's go for a walk around the block." Over time, these small habits add up, and they can become silent killers. The science on this is absolutely clear. Experts now estimate that our lifestyle choices, what we eat, how we sleep, and how much we move, account for nearly 80% of our health outcomes in older age. Bad habits rarely show their damage right away. They quietly erode the body's strength, year after year. I think of Mr. Davis, a 65-year-old who started living by himself after he retired. At first, he told me, canned food was just about convenience. Opening a tin of soup or heating a frozen meal felt so much easier than cooking for one. But convenience slowly turned into a routine. Fresh fruits and vegetables vanished from his diet. Exercise became a distant memory. Within just a few years, his doctor diagnosed him with type 2 diabetes, a condition that could have been delayed, or perhaps even prevented entirely, if his daily habits had been different. The solution begins with simple awareness and planning. You don't need a complicated diet. Just create a simple meal schedule. Prepare some fresh foods ahead of time, so a healthy choice is always the easy choice. Make a conscious effort to limit processed foods and alcohol, even when no one else is there to notice. Most importantly, move a non-negotiable part of your daily rhythm. It doesn't have to be a marathon. A walk around the block. Stretching in the morning while the coffee brews. Lifting light weights while watching the news. These small acts shape your future. What is one healthy habit you are proud of? Maybe it's a morning walk or eating an apple every day. Share it below to inspire someone else in our community. Danger number 6. Losing the art of conversation. Here is a strange truth. The less you speak, the harder it becomes to open your mouth again. This is one of the most subtle dangers of living alone. Day after day, when conversations become fewer and farther between, the ability to connect with others slowly, almost imperceptibly, slips away. It's a muscle, and if you don't use it, it weakens. This isn't just about being social. It's emotional and psychological. When you stop speaking regularly, you lose practice in listening, in sharing, in the simple give and take of human connection. Over time, that silence builds walls around you that make reaching out feel even harder, and the cycle of loneliness deepens. I'll never forget Mr. Jones. At 70, he was once the life of every gathering. He loved to tell stories, share jokes, and debate baseball games with his friends. But after his wife passed and his circle of friends naturally grew smaller, his days became quieter. Months turned into years with little more than small talk at the grocery store. Eventually, he began to avoid invitations from his family altogether. Not because he didn't want the company, he later told me, but because he genuinely no longer knew what to say. He was afraid of stumbling through a conversation. The man who once filled a room with laughter now sat silently in the corner, trapped by his own silence. But that muscle can be trained and strengthened again. You just have to start small. Greet a neighbor when you get the mail. Exchange a few friendly words with the cashier. Call an old friend, just to say hello, even if it feels awkward at first. Join a class, a hobby group, or a community circle where small interactions can gradually become deeper connections. Every word you speak is a step back toward confidence. Do you still keep in touch with your old friends? If yes, please type the word yes in the comments. You may inspire someone else to pick up the phone today. Danger number 7. Becoming a target for scams and exploitation. Loneliness does more than just weigh on the heart. It paints a target on your back. This danger is closely related to financial blind spots, but it cuts much deeper because it preys on the heart. When you live alone, without someone nearby to question a strange new friendship or a sudden request for money, you become far more vulnerable to scams, both financial and emotional. Scammers are experts at this. They prey on trust and kindness, weaving stories that tug at your hope and your fear. One of the cruelest is the so-called grandparent scam, where a stranger calls, pretending to be a grandchild in terrible trouble, begging for money to be wired immediately. Others take the shape of online companions who seem kind and attentive, whose only real goal is to drain your savings account. I treated Mr. Anderson, a 75-year-old man whose wife had passed away a few years prior. He was lonely, and he struck up a friendship with a woman online. She wrote him daily messages. She asked about his health and spoke about visiting him someday. She made him feel seen again. Over time, she began to ask for small amounts of money to help with various emergencies. Grateful for the company, Mr. Anderson sent what he could. But months later, when thousands of dollars were gone, he discovered the truth. There was no friend. There was only a fraud. The heartbreak of that betrayal, he told me, cut far deeper than the loss of the money. The FBI confirms that older adults living alone are among the most frequent victims of these frauds. Isolation creates vulnerability, and loneliness makes false kindness incredibly hard to resist. But you can defend yourself. Always verify before sending money, no matter how urgent the request sounds. Call your grandchild directly. Talk to another family member. Never share personal financial details with strangers online or over the phone. When in doubt, ask a trusted friend to be your second voice before you open your wallet. It could be the shield that saves you from both financial loss and heartbreak. Scammers thrive on silence. Let's create some noise. Comment aware if this segment has opened your eyes. Danger number 8. Losing a sense of purpose. When the phone doesn't ring with work problems anymore, when the kids are grown and have their own lives, when no one needs you in the same way they used to, it is easy to begin asking yourself a dangerous question. Do I still need myself? Purpose is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. And losing it is one of the quietest, most corrosive dangers of living alone after 60. Without a daily reason to rise, motivation can fade. The days blur into one another, and life can start to feel like a long, empty waiting room. This loss of purpose often precedes deeper problems. As physicians, we see it all the time. When the will to engage with life weakens, so does the will to care for one's own health. Studies clearly show that having meaningful activities and a sense of purpose correlates with better mental health, a stronger immune response, and greater longevity. Purpose gives structure to your day, and that structure protects against decline. Think of Mr. Clark, an 80-year-old who once woke at the crack of dawn to tend to his workshop, fixing things for friends and neighbors. He was the man everyone in the neighborhood relied on. After retirement and the passing of his wife, he told me one afternoon, "Doc, those responsibilities just evaporated. Every day feels the same now. I don't even know why I'm getting up. That sense of meaninglessness hollowed out his routines, and with each lost habit, his health and his mood slipped a little further. But the remedy can be found in small, intentional actions. You do not need a grand plan to find purpose again. Start with tiny, reliable tasks that matter to someone, even if that someone is just yourself. Tend to a plant on the windowsill. Write a few lines in a journal each morning. Commit to a weekly volunteer shift at a local food bank or animal shelter. Learn one new piece of music on the guitar. Join a men's group at your church. Or simply become the neighbor who waters a friend's flowers while they are away. These small actions rebuild meaning, bit by bit. They are a daily reminder that your time and your presence still matter. If you still have a reason to get up each day, no matter how small it seems, please type the number 8 in the comments. Your small purpose might inspire another man to find his own. Danger number 9. Facing the final chapter, alone. Now we come to the last danger. The one we started with. The hardest truth to face is this: many men will die in solitude. It is not a thought most of us want to dwell on, but for anyone living alone, it lingers in the quiet moments. A fear that can feel heavier than illness or poverty. It is the fear of leaving this world without anyone noticing, without a hand to hold or a voice to whisper goodbye. There was a man in my community named Mr. Roberts, an 84-year-old veteran who lived alone in his apartment. Neighbors recalled seeing him every single morning on his balcony, waving as they passed on their way to work. It was a small, comforting ritual. Then one day, the wave stopped. Days turned into weeks before anyone thought to check. When the door was finally opened, he was gone. And no one could say exactly when his last moment had come. His passing was not just a death, it was a silence that echoed through the building. A powerful, tragic reminder of how easily solitude can swallow even the strongest among us. This is the danger many fear but rarely prepare for. Without a plan, the final chapter can unfold in isolation, leaving behind confusion for loved ones and deep regret for the man himself. But it does not have to end this way. Preparation, in this case, offers peace. Take the time to write a will. Organize your important documents in one place and let someone you trust know where they are. Choose someone you trust to speak on your behalf if you are unable to, through a power of attorney for healthcare, and build that circle of connection, even if it is small. Neighbors who check in, friends who call, family who know your routines. End-of-life planning is not about surrender. It is about reclaiming dignity. It is about ensuring your voice is heard until the very end. The men who face this truth head-on and prepare for it are the ones who find the most peace in their final years. This is the danger that leaves the deepest regrets when it is ignored. Do not wait until it is too late. This is the hardest one to talk about, but it is the most important. If you believe that planning brings peace, please comment on the word dignity. So, we have walked through 9 hidden dangers of living alone after 60. From the illness no one notices, to the heavy silence that grows, to the home that can quietly betray you. Each one reminds us that solitude, while peaceful, carries risks that are often invisible until it is too late. We saw how financial traps can rob a lifetime of savings, how small habits can quietly ruin our health, and how even conversation itself can fade if we stop using it. We looked at the cruel truth that loneliness makes us targets, and how losing a sense of purpose can hollow out the will to live. And finally, we faced the most difficult reality of all, the possibility of meeting that final chapter alone. But I want you to think back to the story of Mr. Johnson, the gentleman who fell in his bathroom. Today, his story has a different ending. Because after that incident, his son helped him install a simple medical alert button, and they started a daily 5-minute check-in call. Now, Mr. Johnson lives with confidence, not fear. That one small, simple change made all the difference. It's a powerful reminder that these dangers do not have to define your story. With awareness, and with simple, intentional actions, solitude can be transformed from a source of weakness into a source of profound strength. A daily call, a safer home, a trusted friend to talk to about money, a small habit of movement or fresh food, a circle of friends or neighbors who know your rhythm. These are not complicated steps, yet they can mean the difference between a life that fades quietly and a life that remains full of dignity, connection, and meaning. And so, as we wrap up, knowledge is only powerful when we put it into action. I have one final important question for you. What is the one commitment you are making to yourself this week after watching this? It could be as simple as, I will move the throw rug in my hallway, or I will call my old friend tomorrow. Please share your personal commitment in the comments below. Reading your promise might just be the spark that inspires another man to take his own first step. And if you found real value and wisdom in our time together, please show your support by giving this video a like. To ensure you continue on this journey with us and never miss another video full of life-changing insights, hit that subscribe button. It's more than just subscribing. It's joining a community of men dedicated to living our best lives together. Finally, think of one person, a friend, a brother, a neighbor, who needs to hear this message today, and please share it with them. You might just change their life. Thank you for being here. This stage of life is not an ending. It is a new beginning, if we choose to face it with wisdom and strength. Until next time, take care of yourself, and always remember, you are never truly alone.